Hello again. Well, Laurent is just behind me, which if you've just watched a somewhat turbulent vlog for me, it might be a surprise that there's another one. But here we are on Ile Saint-Alain, or also known as Park Jean Drapeau. Jean Drapeau, Mayor of Montreal, probably the most famous Mayor of Montreal, responsible for building probably all of the most insignificant, in some minds maybe, significant infrastructure projects in the history of the city, and thus the park that literally was built by him, or at least the earth that it sits on, was named after him after a while, or after his death, I believe. Why are we here? Well, for one reason, it is a beautiful, beautiful park that features quite an impressive collection of natural landscapes and fixings and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But the real reason why we're here is because this is the original grounds of Expo 67, somewhat of a mild obsession of mine. And many years ago, I did a tour of this area on a whim, and now we're back to do a tour proper on camera. There are some things and some relics left of Expo 67 throughout these grounds. We're here at a very elegant, perfect time of day. The weather is great, and also Magic Hour will be here soon, so we'll probably get some great shots of what's left of the Expo 67 grounds. We're now just going down this path here that's not very well traveled, but I have done it before. Just to give you an idea though, that this entire area, with the exception of the mound and the risen portion that we're on here, was actually originally a fort, and they extended the grounds in order to make room for all the exhibition halls, and including Laurent as well. But this portion that we're at now, which is where the Jacques Cartier Bridge Pavilion is located, is also the original natural island that existed in the St. Lawrence River. The reason I say that is because we have forts on this section of the property. Now, we're not going to actually tour the forts today. There's just not enough time. And yeah, apologies for those of you that don't know and that did not watch, say, the last vlog. Unfortunately, my regular camera broke during my trip to Laurent. So I'm now forced to do the vlog with my phone, but it should be all right. This is a basin that I've never seen before. Now, I don't know whether or not I've done some. There's so much that you can read about Expo 67. It's kind of ridiculous, even from an English-speaking standpoint. I'm unfortunately an Anglophone, and that means that I'm not privy to all of the history of this place, even though I can read French now, but not to the level that I would say is justifiable in doing a vlog in French. Am I rambling? Yeah, maybe. Okay, so we're gonna go down, and this basin's kind of interesting. It's got a lot of mechanics in it, so clearly it was constructed for Expo, or it could have been constructed for the Fleur-à-Lis, which was an event held here after Expo 67, of which they took over a significant part of the grounds and planted a significant amount of plants. Why is that cool? Well, most of that work has matured now into a fully fledged park that you wouldn't know is entirely man-made. So that's the fun part about this spot, is that everything that we're on right now is so you can kind of tell the older part of the island, because we're kind of walking on the shore of where it was, because it kind of rises, and the lake is, or the river is just down over here. Everything that we're walking on, for the most part, is man-made, which is really astounding to think about. When you think about infrastructure projects and sort of fascinating things like this massive basin that's not even being used. Doesn't look like it's dormant. Looks like it might actually fill again. There's actually a brilliant perspective that unfortunately you're not going to be able to get with this camera, but you can see through that bridge perfectly to the perspective of another bridge crossing over the small river that we have over there. We're gonna go wander over to that side and go check it out. There's a fair amount of stuff to check out here, so bear with me. I'll try to cover as much as I can. Okay, so we're a little further down the basin here that you just saw that we passed. This is further on, and we've arrived at the bridge, which you can actually cross. I do recall being able to cross this last time. Now you can kind of get an idea. This is definitely probably a florally. Quite a nice image, isn't it? Yeah, it's a beautiful park, and there's a whole lot of action going up on the hills behind me here. I don't know what's going on. I'll just give you kind of a sight line of what you can actually expect here. I would say it's safe to presume that this was part of the Florally back in the 1980s, or the beginning of 1980 when they had it here. But I could be wrong because it's right in the middle of the non-man-made portion of the park. So it could have been here 100 years. Up on this side is a large tower on the top of the hill. And there's a fort on the other side, which you might have saw a brief glimpse of the rocks just off the Jacques Cartier pedestal, of which you can turn off, park, and get into the fort. Lots of rocks and stuff. Normally, if I hadn't spent an entire day, I should probably give you a sight of this size since it's more actually picturesque. But having spent an entire day in La Ronde, a somewhat frustrating one, I do not have the energy to climb any hills like I normally do. So the area kind of opens up on this side once the hill and the natural island end. And we get to what is predate Expo 67, inclusive of this large swimming pool complex that we're about to hit, which is right where the metro stop that will take you to the island, and where I recommend actually starting your journey is close to. So yeah, we're heading over there. Also, if you come to Toronto, never again. If you are in Montreal for Electric Picnic, watch the foliage. It is just over there as well. My first ever. So every time I come here, they're building something new. This time it looks like all it is a new parking lot. This is actually where the electric picnic area is, so it's just actually over here. The swimming pool complex is just up here, which we're about to hit. And then also, lost my train of thought there, so we're gonna carry up on this hill. All right, so now we're very close to our first major relic of Expo 67, and also the most well-known. This is my favorite hat, and it's always on crooked. But throughout the park, you're going to find maps as well, which is always very convenient to where exactly you are. It's a fairly massive complex, like I said. So this might actually be more than one day that I cover this entire area. We'll see how it goes, because I tend to talk sometimes, even though I think that I'm a quiet guy. This is La Ronde right here. It's the most northern point of the complex. And the original island that I was describing would be this section right here. We actually are right about here, because this is where we're headed, which you probably know what that is. Everyone that knows Expo 67 kind of knows about the Biosphere. And then you have the kind of like the place that most people think of as Jean Drapeau, which is like a large plot of land, which was my first association with this place because I saw Radiohead here many, many years ago, and probably the best Radiohead show I've ever seen. Besides the point, but it's a fantastic venue. It's where Osheaga actually takes place every year that they're allowed to have Osheaga. And then at the end of this area is one of the main Expo 67 relics, just down here, which is the start and end point for the entire festival back in the day, Place des Nations, or Place of Nations. That is the main public component that's always been open to the public throughout the years. This section, the completely man-made section, inclusive of the quite fascinating St. Lawrence Strait here, or St. Lawrence Seaway, and also the Olympic rowing regatta area as well, which was a reclaimed portion of the area after Expo 67 to water. So they created this channel in there. As many of you are going to find out, or if you don't know, most of the pavilions for Expo 67 weren't built for a permanent use. So over the years following 1967, they fell into disuse and disrepair. Most of the Expo Grounds here were closed off after the first decade of man and his world, which is what the exposition was called after the official Expo. This area was eventually closed off and people could not get to it until it was turned into the regatta grounds and also Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, which is a famous F1 driver, also the father of another famous F1 driver, Jacques Villeneuve, who have raced this very course. I don't think that Gilles Villeneuve actually has raced the course himself, but obviously Jacques Villeneuve has. But this is an F1 course where the Canadian Grand Prix takes place every year, and also I think another couple of like road races and bike races and that kind of thing. So it's a very famous area, and we're going to be going there very soon. It's an awesome area of grounds. Looking forward to that. All right, so let's get on to the Biosphere and go check it out. I'm going to avoid doing a running list of facts during this particular tour because it certainly could be done, as there are so many facts on record about these grounds and how they were built. But yeah, I might include some random stuff in type along the lines, maybe here, of something like what we're about to see, which is the Biosphere. Very well known, the original skin of which burnt off in a rather dramatic fire in the early 80s, including also the unfortunate Ontario Pavilion, which was also an impressive structure that burned down entirely shortly after it was built. But the Biosphere, as you can see, is a permanent fixture. The original American Pavilion for Expo 67. There is a science museum that is now located in that pavilion inside. It's not really that big in there, so actually it does have a ground floor that probably has a little bit more exhibition space, but it's a museum of the environment, or environmental museum. And yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't look big enough for me to pay to get into, not on a school trip. So everything is closed, obviously, because we are still in we are in COVID life. But you can walk slightly into the grounds or around the grounds of the Biosphere, which is kind of cool, which we're about to do. We go up these stairs, and then suddenly you're in a whole different area. Well, I don't think it's going to happen this evening. If you see my other vlog from Lawrence, I did pass this area at night, or like just at sundown, and it was quite impressive to see because the Biosphere is lit up, and it's yeah, it looks kind of cool. Well, I always find myself taking too many pictures of things that everyone takes pictures of, like the Biosphere, but here we are. In fact, I'm probably going to stop for one more picture, because as you go around it at this time with the sun just glistening through the structure, it's the perfect time to get a photo of it. So we're going to get one more. And then we're going to move on, because the sun goes down at 8:30, and we got to hustle because there's not much time, and we got to get to a different island over there, which we're going to head to immediately. Woo-wee, that's a mad flowing St. Lawrence River right behind us here. And on the other side is our destination. Now, this convenient bridge is located right next to Park Jean Drapeau. I'm going to leave Jean Drapeau to the end. We are in Jean Drapeau, but I'm going to leave like the main concert area and Place des Nations at the end of this tour. We're going to come back to Ile Saint Helene after this. So we're going over the bridge. We're going to head over to the pavilions that are still existent today. The main one that everyone kind of knows about, or the two that everyone knows about, besides the American Pavilion behind us, is the bridge that I can't cross. Fortunately, I can cross it here. Is the French and Quebec Pavilions, which the French Pavilion today makes up Casino Montreal, and the Quebec Pavilion was attached to it in order to complete that facility. So let's give you an idea of this bridge, because it is kind of a really cool vista. I do love the bridge that leads you to the casino, which I'm looking at right now. As you can see, this is a land of the future, and if you come down here, it's full of impressive sightlines. All right, so we are now on the other side of the bridge, and that means that we are now in what I consider like the original Expo Grounds, because this entire area was cleared right out and left to sort of decay after the original exposition occurred. But now, as you can see, or you can kind of make out behind me, now you definitely can, it is a race course. So when you get over here, you basically just follow the race course, the entire circuit, which you can kind of do anytime, which is really cool. So if you're interested in like seeing what an F1 course looks like up close, where you can actually access the track, well, get yourself to Montreal. So we also run into one of our first pavilions on this island, and that would be of Tunisia. Originally thought this was hard to find, but there it is, right behind us, an original Expo 67 pavilion. You know, I will admit that the ones that have stood the test of time, they're not exactly like the most impressive structures. So one thing I should mention, and I did notice last time, is that the entire race course is also sort of built through the summer months and the spring and the fall. So that way cyclists can come and use the course for their own training and really just pleasure if they want to, which is kind of awesome. And part of the reason why I think that Quebec sports generally does so well compared to Canada as a whole. So yeah, we can As you can see, these guys are all just basically just taking the entire course all the way around, because the rather famous turn is actually just down here. We're gonna cross as the traffic is just let up. This would be the center staging grounds for, so this would be the center staging grounds for the actual circuit. You can see it goes all the way down, and people take the course all the way down to the other end. I apologize for my rowing fans. I love watching rowing during the Olympics. I'm not going to go over to that section today. It's just on the other side of those stands, but it really just is a long water course for them to practice and compete rowing competitions. But as I said, this is a big island. So the Tunisian, as I just realized, has washrooms in it, which is great. So you can take care of business there if you need be. We're going to cross back over to the path and get ourselves down to the other end. Quiet. Can you see that behind me there? Can you see him? He's frozen. There he goes. There's a groundhog hiding behind the tree. Come on, buddy. There he is. Can you see him? Yeah, I can see him. Are you coming to play, Bo? Bro, come here, bro. Oh, I forgot I'm not in Toronto anymore, so you don't say that here. Oh, he's standing. You can't see that? I don't know if you can see that. He does not look happy with my presence. I'm pretty sure my friend is just going to stay in that position because he thinks that that is... Yeah, he literally has not moved. I think he thinks that by being still that I mistake him for a tree, like no movement of the face whatsoever, will leave him behind. Just a little, still looking in that direction. I'm gonna get a picture of him just to confirm that what I'm looking at, in case it doesn't come out on video, is what you guys can see here. Okay, so the pedestrian path goes quite a long ways down the one side of the island, but it's on the opposite side. As I said, the rowing regatta and that is not something that I would originally go and visit. This is definitely an original Expo 67 fixture. However, this here fountain, there you can kind of see it now. That is a Expo 67 fixture. There is also a lot of signage and relics in this area that we're about to kind of see. If you look around, you can kind of find them. But you have to, I guess you have to know what you're looking for, but it's not really that hard if you just know what older concrete or older construction would look like in comparison with the newer stuff. So as we cross the race course here into the other side, yet another bridge. Lots of bridges. It's kind of crazy to think that they never opened up this place for quite a while until the actual floral exhibition, because it's really a very stunning sight for what is a man-made creation. Yeah, the sightlines are crazy here. I really do believe that if I ever get the opportunity, it would be great to shoot a film on this here particular area of Montreal. They do have really strict rules with public shooting, however, so you gotta make sure that you get permission to do so. All right, we're in another section here, which is another vacant plot of land. leading us eventually to where we're going next. I'll see you over there in a moment. I say vacant plot of land, but it is all very significant because I am standing on an original pavilion space. These concrete areas that we can see here are the original. So I'm actually standing in an original exhibition building here, at least the foundation of it. Makes me think that it might be the Russia Pavilion, but I believe the Russia Pavilion was a bit bigger than this, and also one of the most impressive of the site overall. So yeah, we're gonna head over to the rowing basin as I said I wouldn't do, and yeah, we'll see what we get because I'm not really too familiar. I've got a lot of stuff on me here with this particular section. So, but we're on this bridge, yet another bridge, which is also definitely an original fixture from Expo. You can see by the type of concrete, it has a more of an earthen reddish tone and hue to it. Quite a brilliant perspective of the racing tower, or the control tower for the race course. One thing I do like about this area is that it's full of like these weird curiosities, like little stairwells that were originally obviously for Expo 67, but are still open. So we go down, right? And it's just looking brilliant. When you see something that looks like that, how can you resist trying it out, right? So here we go. It's open. They've closed a lot of stuff off for COVID, but this stairwell is open. So we're gonna see where it goes. It looks like the path is still manicured. Well, you know, it's exactly what I thought I would find down here. There is a bench ahead. There also might be some inhabitants. We'll find out soon. Just an alternative trail in case you didn't want to take the one actually that was prepared for you up there. There was stairs leading to it, so I do know though that I believe that there was like a ferry service that went down this particular structure. But as you can see, this is all original Expo construction. When you consider that man and his world was the original theme of this area, I think it's really kind of grown into what their original vision for Expo was, because you have man and nature here cohabiting in just the most fascinating way. Admittedly, at a time where the vision was a little more, let's say, ambitious, let's say. Not in a bad way, but yeah, versus like most public infrastructure projects of today, you don't even see an Expo anymore. Nobody seems to care, you know, because, well, you can get cuisine from around the world just down the road now. So the whole spirit and energy of what this place was about, unfortunately, is lost with time. But fortunately, we can still come back here and explore what at once was a completely different world with a completely different perspective and a completely different experience, to say the least. So we're a little further along from the bridge here, and as you can see, that's where we came from, and we have this brilliant little lookout point, complete with lighthouse looking above, and also a newly built porch area there. It's always encouraging to see, but yeah, the city of Montreal seems to have a very Despite there being no one here really, they have a vested interest in protecting what's left of the Expo Grounds here. So we have like these brilliant sort of structures that have been maintained, like the one behind me here, and also other ones that are just sort of sitting here dormant. I don't know if that's actually the case for everything, because I do know the Canada Pavilion, which we're about to hit very soon, there are sections missing of it that weren't the last time that I was here. The sun is almost over Montreal, so we better hustle so we can get some good shots on the other side. We're almost at the end of the island where the Canadian section was. So the Canadian section comprised of several pavilions. There was 5, I believe, in total. 1 for Canada. There was 1 for Ontario. There was 1 for Quebec. There was 1 for Atlantic Canada. There was 1 for BC and the Northern Territories, or the Western Canada and the Northern Territories. None of them, except for the Canada Pavilion in a small form, still exists. But the grounds over here are still fairly well maintained as far as horticulturally. There's lots of cool flowers and stuff. And the jewel of it all has just appeared over here. Now, I may have captured that, I may have not, but there was another groundhog. They're all over the place in this area. And there's also various sculptures from Expo that have been sort of relocated to certain spots. 2 major ones that we need to go back and check out. One that we've seen many times, as it is just on the other side of the main entrance of Laurent. Then you also have ones kind of hidden in the park just behind us here. So we're gonna go check this one out while I try to hustle, because it's definitely getting into the later hours here. So we got a big Star of Independence, right? A green Star of Independence right by the lake here. I'm not entirely sure if that actually dates from Expo, but it certainly looks like it does. We're just going to take another path here leading out. But I like how these structures are kind of off the trail and you have to go and sort of wander to check them out. And I just like the fact that this park has so many random meandering trails here. So I just kind of get disorientated and don't know where I am. That's a kind of cool shot though. Over the course of the spring, summer, and early fall, Expo 67 hosted over 56 million people on these grounds. And I'm now getting a good idea of why people spent the better part of a week here coming to check everything out, because it is massive. Like, we're not going to be able to finish all of this tour today. I have been in this casino before. It's crazy. Like, the building itself is just a marvel of architecture that I just cannot comprehend how they even fathomed coming up with such a structure. It's incredible. And thank God it was saved and it was built so that way it was permanent, because it would be a tragedy if a building like that were lost. It is, in my opinion, the best and most impressive building in the entire Expo Grounds. You know, the Quebec Pavilion over here, we should, I guess, give it a fair shot and at least a look. But it was originally finished much after, or much later than when it was originally constructed, because it was basically just like an atrium structure, which they finished off later. There is also down here the famous Expo train used to go through this waterfall structure, of which I believe is just down here, and indeed it is. One of the coolest things that you see in a lot of Expo videos is this here tunnel just down here, and that it travels underneath the water. Okay, so it's getting on to a little after 8, 8:15 here, so I think we're gonna have to do this as a two-parter because there's just too much to see. And as you can see, I'm getting distracted by the magic hour light here, which is why we're gonna travel to the other side of the island to capture the views of the city first before the sun goes down. And then we'll end our portion of the trip here today on this island, but we're gonna carry on tomorrow in another section of the island because it's a vast space, as I just alluded to, and there's a lot to cover. Majority of what you're kind of looking to check out has just been covered, say, in this little trip here, but there's other places like the Place de Nation and obviously, like I said, Jean Drapeau and the bridges and Habitat 67 and the original theater. Okay, there's a lot to check out still, so sorry if you didn't hear that, that was theater that I tried to say there. But now, yes, heading back to the other side of the island, of which, as we do so, we actually have structures from Expo that we can find here, like these here particular gates. I don't know what these arches, these stone arches were from. But they obviously want them protected, so we won't go mess about with those. There's also an obelisk right behind us here, which is obviously one of the original. So this is the Garden of Israel that is right here, as there is a sign that tells you Israel Garden. So that's what that is, and I believe that those stones are probably protected for a reason. And as I said earlier, you kind of get an idea of the floralese that took place in this area, because as you can see, the gardening and that is quite impressive. We found the Jamaica Pavilion, which has to be one of the most amazing pavilions to fortunately still check out here. While I do want to go down there, there's a smell of a skunk, so we're gonna leave. And the key thing to note is that this is basically the heart of the grounds. It's the top of the Jamaican Pavilion here, just across from the French Pavilion. You can kind of see behind us, there it is, and the Quebec Pavilion. So this is the area where you kind of really do feel like you're still in the actual Expo 67 experience. Although, you know, when it was going, this whole area was just full of people and bustling and activity, and now it's just a very quiet space. This Jamaica Pavilion gives me a very Japanese feel to me. It looks very Japanese, not Jamaican in my book, but I guess that's for debate. Now we're gonna go over on this other side, like I said, because I want to capture that sun before it's too late. As long as we can see it on the French Pavilion, we know it's still there. But I'm starting to get a little exhausted. I don't know what is actually going to meet me on the other side here. I'll give you another shot of what is left of the Jamaica Pavilion here. This place also does operate as a bird sanctuary, as you can probably hear throughout. There's a lot of, even for Toronto, there are birds here that I do not recognize, with Toronto being not too far from here. So yeah, that's kind of unique. A lot of the sections here feature groundworks that are no longer being used and paths that are blocked off, and sections that were originally used for Expo that are long since defunct. One that I visited before is this particular area, which was a staging ground or one of the original stations for the monorail that traveled through this area. And you can still visit today as it was. Also, if you're into brutalism, well, the concrete, it's a brutalism dream over here, as a lot of the concrete follows the model of what brutalism does. And decisions. We need to get over there because that sun is too good. We're gonna hustle and try to get across the bridge, or at least to a higher ground, so that way we can capture the sun as it goes down over Montreal. Should be able to do that. There's more groundhogs ahead in the path here. They're everywhere on this island. So the bridge that we're now about to go across is actually the main bridge for getting to the casino from the city. I believe there's a path, and there is a path. This is not an easy thing to get onto from what I remember last time, because it's not really designed for people to walk across, even though I'm about to do so. So like the actual accessing it, I don't even know. I'm on this closed road here that doesn't even lead to anywhere really. It is clearly based on the looks of the works here as part of the original Expo entry point, or an entry point for Expo of some sort. Now this particular gate here, that's the gate we're going through. I love the design of this bridge. Once again, if you like brutalism, this is where you want to be, because this place is amazing for that. So like I said, I'm walking on now on a road that is not for pedestrians. So don't do this when you're here. When you get to this point and you get shots like that, you're just like, all right, Cliff, why don't you just continue the vlog there? You're just taking pictures of yourself like a goof. All right, so back on the proper side of the bridge. These guys over on this side are gonna get a rude awakening because there's no sidewalk on that side, I believe, after that point where those gates lead you to the casino. Hello again. All right, well, it is just a stunning sunset. I'm probably going to be here for the one tomorrow as well, so I'll need to get carried away. I am on this bridge, the original Expo bridge, which was for the Expo Express, the exclusive train service from the Autodrome to the main Expo grounds throughout. Just behind us over on this side of the bridge, this is Ile Saint-Helene that we're crossing now, as that beautiful shot of the bois, the basin. It's just over here. And that large space that we'll visit tomorrow, just on the other side, there is the main concert grounds for Park Jean Drapeau that I alluded to before, where Osheaga takes place. This bridge that I'm crossing right now is relatively not busy always because, as I said, it's exclusively for the traffic of the casino. And that being said, yeah, there's not that many people that are gambling, and I don't know even how they're open right now, because how do you go inside during COVID? I'm really not so sure. It is what it is. But why do I say that? Because it's very long, and that's the city that I'm headed to, just down at the end of it. So normally you would take the subway across the river, because it goes underneath from the entrance just on that side in Jean Drapeau. But we're gonna cross because this is gonna take us to the old port, and when we get to the old port, we'll be in the old city. In the old city, there should be some food for me because I'm starving. The last time that I crossed this bridge, I ran across it and there was nobody on it, but right now there's a lot of people on it, but mainly probably because they want everybody out and about and enjoying the scenery. And that's what we got, Montreal. I get a lot of flack from home saying, why do you give Toronto such crap for not really being that cosmopolitan of a city, or at least a destination worth visiting? I've already proven in this video just one of the things that this city has going for it that's been around for quite a long time that we don't have back home. And I think I should end this video on an interesting factoid about that, in the fact that the Expo was originally supposed to be taking place in Russia to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Russian Revolution. I guess this is before they knew everything about what Stalin was up to during that time. But yeah, they decided not to take it. And as far as the Canadian bid was concerned, the original city that was considered and chosen was Toronto. Toronto, however, took a pass on Expo 67 and said it was too big of a project for them to take on. Well, the rest is basically history. Not that I think that Toronto would have been able to live up to what Montreal pulled off with this particular construction. But they did try later, and they made Ontario Place only 4 years later with one of a team of people that were responsible for Expo as well. So lo and behold, you know, they kind of fell back on their original ambitions and kind of made a smaller version of that, which we've already toured in a different video, and there's going to be another history video of that coming up very soon. But as we near the end of this bridge and get back into Montreal, I will say that we do have one thing left to check out, as I said, on this side. So we'll probably end it officially over there, which is Habitat 67, which is the very famous condominium building constructed for Expo. It wasn't actually finished for the opening of Expo 67, unfortunately. And then beside that is the original Expo Theater and some of the original Expo Art Gallery as well. It might be a little dark when we get over there, so we'll see if we got anything to cover. Hopefully we do. And that'll be a wrap for this part of the Expo Grounds exposition. Well, outside of you know, not drinking anymore, if I had, say, a full belly and had breakfast, I'd probably be going to this party over here, because there's certainly like something going on over there. Probably an illegal rave of some sort. It's loud enough that it probably isn't. Well, yeah, it looks like life is coming back to Montreal. As an aside, it is Game 6 of Montreal versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the two cities that I frequent the most are battling it out, and it's literally the first time that they've met in the playoffs since the last time that I went attended that series as a Leaf fan, which is 1993. I didn't realize until just now that these teams have not faced each other in ages, so kind of significant. It might get a little wild in the city tonight if Les Habitants win. I'm a Bruins fan though, so no winner either way, right? Whew, it's a long bridge. Out of breath. We're at the other side, so Montreal is getting closer. The old port and all the slips are just over here, including Le Havre, which is the main port. This party that's going on is just across here. It's kind of like underneath us. And then at the end of this little area is Habitat 67, as you can see just down here. So we're gonna end it just down there as we have a little bit of light here left. And then, yeah, we'll wrap things up. Okay, so just behind me is Habitat 67, which is the famous building built by Mush Safdie and completed a year later in 1968. Now we're on the walking path right now, or sorry, the bike path, so I'm just gonna capture this final shot here of the building itself before we get down to the proper side to walk on, which is the other side. But yeah, this is a brilliant complex, which over the years has taken, from what I understand, a fair amount of money to maintain, as the entire thing is built out of concrete and it is not, in that sense, great for weather insulation. So because of that, it is required quite the much modification over the years, but it is an incredible structure. And I'm just gonna kind of end this section with some imagery of that, and then we'll see you on a little bit more extra, as we don't have much to cover left, but this vlog would not be complete without a visit of the Place des Nations, which we're going to do tomorrow, and that's where we'll end the entire vlog of Expo 67 till today. I'm supposed to believe that I ran this entire thing. I'm still walking. I don't think I'm gonna make it. What was I thinking taking this course? I don't know. Other than what I normally do. The lengths that I would go, or do go, for 30 YouTube views. Behind me here is the original Expo 67 art gallery, which is now like a disused brutalist building, which actually looks great and has these cool stairs here. This is a really cool ramp. On a different day, I would probably go up there and check it out, but I'm definitely getting tired and I need to try to cross the river at the last portion of it. I've already really crossed it already, but got to get back over to the port because I'm probably going to pass out if I don't eat something. But before we wrap, again, this first part, or the majority of the tour, there is one final building that I said that I would check out. So this is definitely the most comprehensive I can get to covering the grounds. But Ed Sullivan had two of his shows. I'm really gonna date things now, aren't I, by saying that? Because I guess a lot of people wouldn't know who Ed Sullivan is nowadays, but it was a big deal back then. Two broadcasts of that show were presented from this theater here which is the original Expo 67 theater. And finally, it's not here, but on the other side of this bridge here, which is the, this is where all the trains come in. It's really like a significant bridge. The main bridge coming in, feeding into the city. The Autodrome, which was the original spot where the public's displays of larger shows like the tattoos and concerts or auto shows would go on over at this large stadium, which was really just a temporary stadium, and probably the foundations were made there for many temporary Grey Cup stadiums for the future, for you Canadian folks out there that know what that means. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Hello, we're back at the main plaza of Jean Drapeau, and as you can see, the weather is a little bit different, and to that benefit, it's a little bit more open, so we can go check out a couple of things, because while it was raining, it's just letting up, and it should for the rest of the evening. So as mentioned, this is the main area and concourse where most people are familiar with the park. If you're coming to visit Jean Drapeau from, say, the city on a short tour, you're gonna get out of the metro, which is just down there, and you're gonna walk over to this here Biosphere. You'll take your obligatory shots. It is beautiful, so why not? It feels like you're back at Expo when you look at it, and then you are back at Jean Drapeau, and you go back into the metro, and unless you're gonna go see a concert, you make your way out of here. Maybe for those of you that are watching this and want to actually tour, and like I said, and if you want to follow my original course other than the part that was in nature, you just carry on across that bridge and you're into the grounds where the racetrack is. One thing that's kind of curious that I noticed, there are a lot of people fishing along the St. Lawrence, the banks of the St. Lawrence on that side. So if you're into fishing, definitely bring a rod, because it looks like there's some good catch. I don't know if there's any catch actually, but they seem to be doing it for a reason. Anyway, they have a lot of history that's being represented in new exhibitions as part of these grounds. These grounds are only newly completed as well as of 2 years ago. So the last time I was here in 2019, they were just finishing up most of this work. So it's actually finally now come to fruition. It looks great. I don't know how I feel about the grounds of the original area where the concert grounds are being now just a gravel pit with some concrete fixtures, but I guess they had to do what they had to do. Regardless, it still sort of retains the energy and the feel of what I would have imagined Expo to be like in this area, which is very refreshing to see. And I like the consanguinity, if I can get that right, of the theming when it comes to that. So, as I said, the metro station right over there, and we're going to go over to the concert grounds and then to the Place des Nations to go check that out before finishing up our tour here, as promised, of the former Expo 67. As I haven't sat since I ate, 6 hours ago or so, as I've been on my feet for all the weekend, as I've covered over 25 kilometers in the last 2 days on those feet, I am sitting down. But I'm also sitting down at what I do believe was a pavilion. It has to have been an original pavilion for Expo, because the construction itself definitely dates from that time, as you can tell by the work, and also, curiously, part of the construction is hollow. The logs are hollow inside. I don't know how that happens, unless the logs are fake. Maybe the logs are fake. Also don't know what's up with that color. I don't know why the color looks that way, so hopefully it looks normal to you. But as I mentioned, this is what I'm looking at right now. The station is still waiting for me. In a couple of, maybe an hour or so, I'll get around to going in there. But we're hoping that the rain will subside, as it looks like it might do. These guys, however, don't seem to be fussed about that. From yesterday, we're gonna, usually I would go down this path ahead. I say usually, I mean normal people would go down, say, that path there, as many have already. However, I am not that person, am I? There is also the famous man and his man of his thing, and man holding on to things, and man and his earth, and man and his world. I don't know, this is man and something. It is a man and his world sculpture, or it is a sculpture in the theming of Expo. We're going to go over to that later, towards the end of our journey here. However, now we're going to go up this path that I promised. That leads to, I don't know. This is definitely B-roll footage, but I gotta say what I gotta say. But you can't be a single person of color in a place like this and have some white woman pushing a stroller looking at you while you're just filming a random... Well, I was actually filming people torturing the geese in the corner. But damn it, she gave me 17 looks on the way to the station. Had to stop with her group and like point me out. And yeah, I gave all the looks back. If they want to come over and talk to me, they're welcome to do so. Because I haven't actually committed a crime. But sadly, I deal with that a lot when I do these journeys. I don't care if people are suspicious, but I understand the law. And you have to be committing a crime in order to accuse people of shit. So, that's all I'm going to say on that. So you can see what I mean by impressive venues when it comes to this place, because as you come up, what better reason do you have to have cheap seats than to get that view of the city as you're just seeing the Osheaga stage down there. I'm sure this is very boring to Montreal folks that you know, have seen probably dozens of concerts in this venue. You know, I myself, I believe I've seen two, but unfortunately the other thing about Montreal, and really a segment of a past life, is you could go to Rue Crescent if you're an Anglophone, unfortunately, like myself. You could go to the Latin District, or you could go where I really actually prefer is Saint Laurent at night, and amongst the multitude of other regions in this city of which to enjoy a libation, and maybe another and another, and then maybe a couple too many before you even come to a show here. But even more to my point though, what I'm saying is that I do love this city, regardless if I include the blurb that I just said about being stared at by suspicious local people of a certain lighter Caucasian. But regardless of that fact, the sight lines are perfect. You can't really beat, like, exactly that Ferris wheel is directly in line of where the stage is. I don't know if they intentionally did that, But it just goes to show, if they did, they pay attention to that kind of stuff. Where I'm from, that's just like that's probably going to cost money, so we're going to take a pass, is the general attitude. So yeah, I'm just impressed. It's amazing to look at. They've really done well with this space, despite the fact that you have all that gravel down there. But I get it. It really was a mud pit beforehand anyway. So they had to do something that was a little bit more maintainable. And then you obviously have the grass here still in the back regions too. Oh dear. So now we're walking into the path. This is actually a paved path, so it's not a journey that is uncharted, but yes, it is basically an alternative exit for the some 50,000, I believe, people that can fit into that space for a festival. Might be closer to 20,000 actually. But you never know. I think it actually gets closer to the high end of that. There are more groundhogs here than I have seen anywhere in the world. But we are going down now to the Place des Nations, or at least we're going to try to get there as we kind of wander around. There is security here, I will mention, so you can't just sort of wander about with impunity. It does require some knowledge of where you're going, but also the Place des Nations, or Place of Nations, is not open to the public. At least it has not been since the last time I was here, so you can only look at it from afar. According to the map, it is literally just on the other side of this path, of which we will continue carrying forward. So I hope you enjoy not having my face in the shot for once as we walk. This would have been a much better trip to do with the Steadicam. I will be sure to bring that on the next voyage here. Just a random spot I decided to go and check out, and it happens to be an amazing vista point of this basin, complete with the great rock formations on that side. You would think you were in cottage country, but instead you are dead center in Montreal. So we arrived at the Place des Nations, or the Place des Nations, or Place des Nations, Place of Nations. And as I said, yeah, it's got surveillance cameras, so you can't really get in there. It's a listed area. I know people have been in there and taken footage, and it's not what this vlog is about anyway, or what this channel is about. But you can come and visit here and kind of get a general sense of what it's about. It's not much in there anyway, other than just a venue for sort of exhibitions that not that many people were really even invited to. So when you come and you it's not in a state of which one would even want to visit, and in fact the location of this place is very much a curiosity in the sense that it's not built or intended really for the public to come and visit. It was not. It was more of a place, even though it's called the Place of Nations, it's more like the place for executives and VIPs, because it's not that large. It's got a very weird structure that is not covered, that has no intention of... It's really just like a square. It's a square of wood. So it's a very weird, unusual place. One of my favorite things about Montreal, however, is this particular sight line. So if you are down here, if you do manage to get down here and you capture, I'm not so sure the camera is capturing it all that well, but you have this incredible little shot of the biosphere in the background of the lake and all these concrete structures from the bridge above. So it's quite a great perspective. Feel free to come here and use this shot. It's not easy to actually get anyway because you got a dark foreground and a bright background, so I'm gonna do my best to get a shot of that now anyway. Alright, so we're just now walking around the Place des Nations, the Place des Nations. Yes, like I said, you can't get in this particular area. You can get an idea of what the structure's about. It's not that big, but you can see get a feel of it. The weird thing is that it really is kind of like just this central area for people to present a tattoo, if you will. And then, but with walkways all around it. Like, it doesn't really make much sense. That said, architecturally, it still is an interesting building, but it doesn't really have a purpose, so no surprise why it is no longer in use. Mainly, part of the reason is probably due to conditions that I'm about to show you. Yeah, so as you can see, it's not exactly a place or in a good place currently. Bad joke, I know, but yeah, you can still at least visit it. If you're coming here to visit it, I will say that you should actually come to take the time to make the journey and the path that goes around it, because you get this great vantage point. You get to see in the structure, as I just showed you as best I could. And that's not even saying what's on the other side that we have yet to go and see. I'm surprised I didn't actually do this full path the last time I was here. Also, you get this amazing point and perspective and outlook of Montreal, from the point of Ile Saint-Hélène, or Helene. You can also see Habitat 67, which was visited in a very late point last night. And a bridge, this is the original bridge for Montreal crossing the river. I believe it's called Victoria Bridge. I hope so. And then beyond that is the brand new bridge that we'll be visiting tomorrow. Like, one would generally be tempted to urban explore and go inside. I will admit, if you're here, well, I'm not going to admit to anything, but it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult of a venture if you were so inclined. The main sort of backdrop to the Place des Nations is just over there, which you can kind of see. I'm going to try to, at fault of not having a perfect perspective of it, you can hopefully see the main Expo 67 logo and the main stage for the Place des Nations. So like I said, like there's no parking here. There's no, in fact, I don't even think the train originally stopped here. This really just feels like a space for people that were of a certain importance could come and, you know, be received, and I guess that's kind of what it was for. When you consider that the Queen was here and so many other important delegates and heads of state and royalty and celebrities, they definitely needed a place to kind of, I guess, show them off. But from what I understand, this place, the Place des Nations, or Place des Nations, or Place of Nations, I should say this right, was not used for that purpose. And because of that, or it was not used successfully for that purpose, and because of that, I don't think it really has a very celebrated history here at Expo 67 as far as the infrastructure projects are concerned. We're gonna go up onto this here bridge. With the situation with COVID and the condition of this place and the casino being not open, you really get a sense of like an abandoned ghost town in here, because no one's around other than a photographer back there taking pictures from where I took pictures yesterday. So we're going back into the southern part of the other island. Like it's so bad that I'm not even 100% on the name of this island, and I'm not looking at my phone and just rolling off Wikipedia facts for this vlog. I'm experiencing it. So we're going over back to the Pavilion of Canada, and down at the end of this island, and then we'll finish up currently on the Chemin de Floralie Way, or the Floral Way, if you will. It doesn't really look that floral. A very impressive, probably the best totem pole I've seen, and I have not been to the west coast of Canada, but you can also tell from the totems that I've seen that aren't real, that this is an authentic creation that no doubt was brought here from the west coast, so or potentially even from closer to here, but they don't generally of this size come from here because we don't have any trees of this size, and it's impressive. It's probably like 100 feet. And then we hit the marvelous Canada building, which, to be honest, doesn't look like much, but the fine detail of the structure and the fact that you can walk amongst here and actually get a feel for what it was like to visit here over 50 years ago is a rare treat. The floor of the interior of the Canada building, however, leaves something to be desired, as it is not anything different than what we have outside. There are many exhibitions. This is a poster of, as you can see, I'm going to turn this upside down because you can see it's Osheaga kind of set up. Condition of the building is not quite incredible, and it's now unfortunately storage space for the park and most of its wares. Have some original lockers from Expo as well here. Have not gone anywhere. This whole area is, you can tell, exactly as it was, minus the giant inverted pyramid that was originally on the top of this building. The original building. A lot of the original architecture inside is still there. This side of the building is a bit more finished because it's where the actual administrative offices for the park is located, amongst other things, like the organizers for Osheaga apparently looked to be based here too. Among other things, you can still see the pedestal up top somewhat for where the inverted pyramid once actually was. It's unfortunate. It wasn't really, it was fascinating to look from the outside, but I wasn't so sure about inside. You can tell me if you feel differently, but I think it looked better from afar than from within. From the footage that I'm just going to intercut, sort of highlighting that. One thing that I wanted to really emphasize before doing this vlog, but I should now that we're in the Canada section of Expo and the end of our journey almost, like I said, there's just too many details and historical facts about Expo for me to cover. I'm getting bit by mosquitoes out here. But like I said, you can go throughout this entire area and you're gonna find unique fixtures from the Expo age, like these benches, which are brought to you by Cement Mural Beton. So it looks like these benches were original donations to the Expo as per that cement company. And I passed a brilliant Canada garden, which I hope I can get back to. I tend to lose track because now that we get down to this area, I'm now wandering into stuff parts unknown. And we're now on this awesome little rock path where, if you can see, I don't even know where we're going. It's just kind of going to take us somewhere. Hopefully it will take us somewhere safe, within reason. It just brings us back out. It's just full of all these like mini paths and stuff. You can really get a sense of what I was saying about the nature out here. Hard to believe, but this whole area basically had buildings on it at one point. I believe that I'm on the grounds of the famous Ontario building. I'll probably be able to confirm that in a moment. But to give you a confirmation of which side of the island that we're on, you can see the city is behind us over there. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit further down. I'm gonna scratch my head and I'll join you in a sec. I could keep going down this path, but I don't want to repeat of yesterday where I just kept walking and then ended up almost in Ontario, and we don't want that, not till tomorrow. I'm not so sure when we want that, but yeah, I'm gonna go back to Jean Drapeau proper, even though we're still in Jean Drapeau. But I'm noticing that I'm getting very close to those bridges now, and that's not the plan. And also, you can't cross that bridge, so that's not good to me either. And the bridge that I crossed last night is over there, and it's already scaring me how long it took for me to walk that far. So yeah, it's time for me to saunter on back to the center of the Saint Helene Island, or Saint Helene Island, Saint Helene Island. There's a massive raccoon coming down the road here that might have something else to say about it. So hopefully we don't have a confrontation. He looks hungry. Because there's nobody camping out here, I think he's a little hungry. Not as fat as the ones back home, that's for sure. Man, we keep coming across these cool things here. A horticultural exhibit in the middle of what used to be a plaza of some sort. I'm now trying to get back. I keep stopping myself, but yeah, like I said, this place is just full of unique things to see. And amongst the Quebec Pavilion that's just glimmering through the trees in the distance. If you're a nerd like me and you just like wandering infrastructure, well, here you go, and sport as well. The famous curve from this particular track for the F1 circuit race, which you can just actually walk right through. It's a permanent fixture as part of the street, so it's always here. You don't have to worry about coming here and it's not actually here. We're still on our way back. We're not too far. It's a mammoth vlog. I don't know how long this is going to be, but just to re-emphasize the point that there are other things that I noticed even coming back just this short distance that I didn't film. It really is full of so many different things that you could check out. So to add to the point as what I started with, yes, you can explore here for days, hours maybe, days. It's more like I'd say this is a full day if you want to kind of check everything out. I could, it's been raining on me for the last 4 hours, so I'm gonna kind of wrap it up, even though if I was quite more intrepid, I could go all the way down to the bottom of the other island and really highlight the last sections of the location. But I gotta get over there because that's like home, and that way I can get something to eat and warm up a bit, because I've been outside in this condition. As you can see, no one else is out here, it's just me, so maybe I am crazy, I don't know. Alright, well, now having returned to Jean Drapeau Center, or at least the metro stop, I'm now in the grounds of Oceanga. As you can see, the stage would normally be over there. There's no permanent fixtures or fittings here for the stage and that, which is what I actually like about the festival, is that they didn't, even though this is a man-made space, they didn't turn it into an ugly permanent stage like a certain stage that I know back home that is named, or once was named, after a beer produced at one time just across the river. But besides the point, it also doesn't feature cool stuff like this light work that we see here. Again, Montreal, just generally, they tend to take presentation and art a little bit more seriously. Not maybe in, say, habillé, but yeah. Other than that, what else can I say? It's just, it looks impressive, and it's cool, and it's worthwhile at least once a year maybe coming to check out, even if you live in the city. So these change over time. This could actually be a separate vlog entirely, just with the night lighting situation here. The park is open till 11:30, so you do, if you are inclined, you could come down here and actually check out how these structures are lit at night. There's all sorts of interesting features from just the newer work that they've done in this area alone. This fucking security guy is just gonna fucking torture us.
Boom. Oh, man. 50,000 people on the front stage. Boom. We're doing it on a sunny hot day, though. You know, they pay the price.
Well, I suppose one thing you should make sure to observe while you're here is people that are drinking in the trees, as I've just discovered. Someone just re-transcribing the first half of this nighttime vlog. So yeah, you do have to look out for that, because Montreal is not free of that. There is security in this park, however, so you don't really have to worry too much if you're in this area. I wouldn't recommend kind of losing your way and sort of the further reaches, although I have not seen a single person in this area. One other great fixture of this new section that they've included that was lost as part of the original Expo Grounds was this ground mural. While it's not the exact same interpretation, it is a general sense of what was a very unique mural that was located on the original Ontario Pavilion grounds. And now you have these lights that cause like a sort of light play display as per the poles. So we're back at man and man and man and his man and man of the many men and man of man. And as you can see, there's a great little light. The lights along the boards of the back section of the concert area are fantastic. The reason why I'm hustling though is that despite the fact that we've had overcast the whole day, it looks like the sun just broke the very last second. Well, where it would, I guess, break. So, depending on how that looks, which I think it looks all right. I guess so. So, like I said earlier, much earlier, it seems like, an almost impossible age ago, let there be no distance that I will not cover for you 30 people that have watched this vlog. I joke, I hope many more do eventually do so, because when I guess people in Montreal take this area for granted, or there are vlogs in French that cover this area, but unfortunately I have not found many that have interested or found as detailed as, say, this journey tried to cover, but there's so much more that I could actually still cover still, and may actually get back to doing so in a different vlog another day. But for now, I can't think of a better spot to end this particular vlog. And thank you again for coming along on this sort of serendipitous journey through the grounds of the former Expo 67 and what is now today Park Jean Drapeau. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy the final sights.